Pain without purpose leads to suffering. Pain with purpose leads to growth. And I want you to understand that we don't do anything, we don't grow without pain. So we can either have the pain of growth or the pain of regret, but we don't grow without pain. So we have been talking about being planted, not buried. Although sometimes it can feel like you're buried and you can't breathe and it's all dark and you're wondering what's going on. I get it. So what we're talking about and what we've been talking about is what do we do in that meantime? And when I say meantime, I'm serious. It feels like a very mean time. It feels like you're overlooked. It feels like you're forgotten. It feels like God isn't listening to you. Your prayers aren't being answered. You're just kind of lost in this funk. So we're going to wrap up and talk about that one thing that can spoil the harvest. Like, yes, you're planted. Yes, God is growing you. Yes, you're going to emerge with the harvest. But the one thing that can spoil the harvest, and also what God is doing in the whole process. And I'm so excited you're here for the Irreverent Women Bible Study Club, the club where no shame is allowed. You come as you are, and we get things done. We dig into the word, and we get the results. So let's dive in. What is the one thing that can spoil the harvest? All right, let me tell you a quick story. When I was growing up, when I was around 9, 10, 11, where we lived, we had whether you say pecan or pecan. My husband says pecan. I'm like, no. In the South, you pee in a can. It's a pecan. That's how we say it in the South. So it's a pecan tree. So we had pecans, we had plums, we had grapes, and not just grapes, but if you're in the South, you know what I'm talking about. We had scuppernongs and muscadines. So that's what we grew on our grapevines outside. We had a big vegetable garden, and fig tree. We had that as well. But I love fresh plums. And when it was like the season for plums, and you would see it in the summer, and those plums were getting riper and riper, I would always rush it. And I was like, okay, surely the plums are ready now. And I would pick one, and there was always that first plum, and it tasted horrible. It was all bitter. So, and it's like makes your mouth turn inside out, right? Spit that sucker out so fast. Oh, Lord Jesus. But that's what I'm talking about. It's called the bitter fruit period. If you're taking notes, I want you to write that down. The bitter fruit period. That is the one thing that can spoil the whole harvest, that can ruin the whole time you've been waiting, and you've been planted, and you've been growing, and you've been patient, and you've been learning, and you've been leaning in, and you've been faithful. The one thing that can spoil it is you trying to get the harvest before it's ripe. Now, this is when you're tempted to jump the gun, okay? And let me show you what this looks like. Okay, it's the season when the fruit just begins to appear. So maybe you've been praying for healing in your marriage, and all of a sudden he's like, honey, guess what? Today, I want to take you out. I want to spoil you. And I know you've been telling me to clean up that garage, and guess what? I just cleaned the whole thing out, and I love it. You're saying, yay, my prayer's been answered. It's done. I'm gonna go ahead and book that second honeymoon in Mexico. Okay, you might be jumping the gun. It's that time when it's like you get a check in the mail. You've been praying for financial abundance, for increase. You get that check in the mail. It's like, yes, we did it. I'm going to go ahead and invest it in this brokerage account, and I'm going to buy these stocks. Wait, hold up a minute. That might be jumping the gun a little bit, because you start to see a little bit of the evidence. It's like you're seeing. You know how when you're in a dark room and someone opens the door and you see that little sliver of light? Okay, it's like you've been in the dark so long and you see that little sliver of light and you're like, that's it, my miracle, and you bust down the door. And it wasn't quite time, because God operates in stages. So I think about when Joseph was in prison, and do you remember the story where a cupbearer and a baker come to him and they say, we've had these dreams. Wouldn't you hate to have been, like, think about if you had to be Joseph. Like, I'm going to tell this one guy, like, he's going to get out of here. It's going to be great. And then turn to the baker and say, oh, by the way, you're going to die. Like, oh my, could you imagine having delivered that news? He's like, oh, yeah, that's good news. Tell me my good news. Oh, yeah, well, you're dead. Ugh. Okay, not good. That's worse than firing somebody. So anyway, so he was in this bitter fruit period. And what that looked like was he told them, like he told them what their dreams meant. He told them the outcome. He told them what to expect. And then he told the baker was the one that got, cupbearer. He told the cupbearer, listen, when you get out, could you make sure you tell people that I'm here and I've been forgotten about? He was jumping the gun. He had to wait another 2 years in jail. Another 2. He's thinking, this is it. I see the glimmer of light. The tunnel's coming to a close. I'm busting out of this place. And now he has to stay 2 more years because he tried to pick the fruit before it was ripe. It's not fully mature yet. The promise is beginning to reveal itself, but it's not fully mature. And so we have to have that level of patience and let it be completed. But it's so hard because you've been in the dark for so long that you're like, please just throw me a bone, for crying out loud. I can't do this any longer. So I want to read James 1:4. And again, if you're taking notes, write this down. James chapter 1, verse 4. It says, let endurance and steadfastness and patience. Can I tell you a funny story? I remember when I was on the mission field and I was with a partner and I remember telling my partners, like, you know what, last night I just had this time with God and I'm just praying and asking for patience. And my partner said, oh my God, you prayed for patience? Don't ever pray for patience. What are you doing? Oh my God, you ruined it for us. I'm like, what? She's like, don't pray for patience. Now he's going to throw all this crap in our lives and it's already horrible. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Rule number 1, don't pray for patience. Okay, got it. Patience is something that has to be worked in you. Wave at me if you know this to be true. Like, ain't nobody got to pray for patience out there because God will see you being impatient. He's like, well, let me just make you wait a little bit longer. Okay, welcome to the big show. So it says here in James 1:4, let endurance and steadfastness and patience have full play and do a thorough work so that you may be people perfectly and fully developed with no defects, lacking in nothing. Give me a hand wave if you want to have that life that is lacking in nothing. I have the health. I have the relationships. I have the joy. I have the overflow in my finances, lacking in nothing. In order to get to that lacking in nothing, we have to do the full play. We have to go through the full process. And that means we can't jump the gun. Galatians 6:9. And let us not lose heart and grow weary and faint in acting nobly and doing right. For in due time and at the appointed season we shall reap if we do not loosen and relax our courage and faint. Now, it's so hard when you've been in the process to not feel spiritual exhaustion. I was telling some people before we got on live today that I was so tired today. I don't know if it was spiritual, physical, emotional. It just hit me like a wall. I'm sitting out on our back porch and I passed out. Like, you could say fall asleep, but there was nothing pretty about this. I like leaned over against this like rickety old like wicker piece of furniture that is not made for napping, fell asleep, woke up because my left butt cheek went totally numb and my left leg, complete circulation cut off. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I fall asleep like that so fast? But that's what happens when you're so exhausted. Not that your butt will go numb, but it is a side effect. But when you're so exhausted, it's like, can I do this one more day? And sometimes you really doubt that you can. I don't know if I can stay feeling hidden and overlooked and neglected and feel like I'm in the dark. I don't know if I can do this another day, but guess what? You can. Because you have survived 100% of your worst days. And there were days when you thought you couldn't, and guess what? You did, because you're here today. And so we have such a higher capacity for, and I don't want to call it suffering, I want to call it pain, because there is pain in feeling overlooked and neglected and waiting. There's pain there. But pain does not have to lead to suffering. Pain without purpose leads to suffering. Pain with purpose leads to growth. And I want you to understand that. We don't do anything. We don't grow without pain. So we can either have the pain of growth or the pain of regret, but we don't grow without pain. And so this pain of this meantime is doing something in you if we can lean into the purpose. And that's why we will not faint. We can let it have its full play, knowing even today, when I'm exhausted and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I want to give up, even today is working for me in a greater way than I know. I'm growing. This is doing something for me. So we have a tendency to get excited. I don't know about you, but I feel like draws like, okay? And there are some women I'm talking to who just get a little excited, and we tend to just get carried away, okay? Not just me. Please tell me it's not just, okay, it's not just me, right? We get a little excited, get carried away. I think about Peter when Jesus had been resurrected, and Peter's in the boat and they're rowing to shore, and he sees Jesus on the shore, and he gets so excited he jumps out of the boat and swims to shore. Okay, which do you think got there faster, the boat or Peter swimming? The boat got there faster, but Peter got excited. Now here's the good news. Peter probably said, I could have just stayed in the boat. I wouldn't be wet, and I could have gotten to Jesus faster. I just got all excited about it. But also Jesus told Peter later, guess what? On this revelation that you have of who I am, I'm going to build my church. The bride, not the church organization, the people. That's who he's talking about. And so God isn't like, don't get all excited. He's like, I see you. I feel you. You have my heart. But don't jump in front of me. Stay with me. You see, we need to look at the signs that are happening and understand the season that we're in. Now, Romans 5, 3 and 4, I want to read this to you because I want to show you how God is very intentional about how he works with us. He operates in stages. He says, moreover, let us also be full of joy now. Let us exult and triumph in our troubles and rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that pressure. Now, who knows that seed when it's in the ground, it's pressured. There's pressure there. Pressure and affliction and hardship produce patient and unswerving endurance. And endurance, fortitude, develops maturity of character, approved faith, and tried integrity. And character of this sort produces the habit of joyful and confident hope of eternal salvation. So I'm going to lay it out for you. Okay. The troubles and the pressure and the hardship produce patience. Now, patience produces endurance. Endurance produces our character, and character produces joy. You see, he operates in succession, in stages. But he's saying, you know what? You're going to get there. You're going to get to the harvest. You're going to get to the manifestation of the promise. You're going to get to the promised land. But it's going to happen in stages. So don't jump the gun, but we can jump the gun emotionally. That's what he's saying in Romans 5, 3, and 4, because he says, let us be full of joy now. Even in the middle of this part of the suffering that produces patience, and the patience produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces joy. We can be full of joy even in the suffering because we know God is faithful. His word is true. He's at work, and I am freaking going to get there. I may not be there right now, but I'm going to get there because God is a man of his word, and I can take his word as a blood-backed covenant. So even when I'm in the suffering right now, and I'm gonna call it pain, doesn't have to feel like suffering. Even when I'm in the pain right now, I can take the joy. I can jump the gun emotionally. That's what faith is. It's jumping the gun emotionally. So I can operate by faith and I can take joy now because I know I'm just going to stick with God and I'm going to get here. I don't have to be in the circumstances to feel the result of being in the circumstances. Does that make sense? Wave at me if that makes sense to you. Okay, I want to make sure everyone's tracking with me. I don't have to be in the circumstances to feel what it feels like in the circumstances because I know God's faithful even at this point where it's dark and it's deep and it's pain. Here's where this period, the bitter fruit, when we've been through it and we start to see the things that we can make two mistakes. Okay, there's two mistakes we can make during that bitter fruit period. Mistake number one, we can leave the field. The worst time to leave the field is the bitter fruit period. That's like, I've been digging for diamonds so long, I can't go back and dig another day, and you are half an inch away from those diamonds. That bitter fruit season is like, man, I thought God was doing this. I was seeing it line up. It's like, oh my gosh, more money's coming in. We're getting on top of our finances. And then I get hit with this huge tax bill. Well, worst thing you can do is, well, I guess it's not working. It is working. But the enemy's going to throw you sides during this bitter fruit period because he's trying to get you to give up right before the harvest. It's the most critical time. And it's the time when most people leave the field. They think, okay, God's making progress in our marriage. It's going really well. And all of a sudden, like, you had this huge fight. See, it's not working. Yes, it is working. But the enemy's not going to roll out the red carpet to let you walk into the promised land. He's going to throw everything he can at you, especially when you get closer to the harvest. As you get closer, things heat up. And that's when people can give up. And it's so heartbreaking when I see people right before. It's like, man, it was about to bust wide open. And you said no. And you shut the door. And you walked away. And you gave up. Here's what I tell people. If you were to give up, you should have done it 10 years ago. If you were going to give up on your health journey, if you were going to give up on your marriage, you should have done it 2 months in. I remember this one client. They have been working 25 years in their marriage. And I was like, you've been at this 25 years. Are you really going to give up right now? Or do you want to give it one more year of getting coaching so you can see what God has in store for you? What if you were just a week away? Are you willing to just give up everything? You've worked so hard. But the mistake number one is leaving the field. They stop sowing. They stop believing. They stop trusting God. And they abandon right before the harvest. Now, that's the first mistake. The second mistake is this, and this is the second mistake of the bitter fruit period, is we grab the fruit before it's ready. We throw open the door before the hinges are fully in place. We have one sale. We have one opportunity. We have one breakthrough. And all of a sudden we're like, yes, this is it. I'm full on. And here's where we think, God, I'll take it from here. Now I'm seeing how you're working. I trust you. I had a breakthrough. I'll take it from here. I see the fruit. Okay, God, thanks. So I want to show you something. Now it can feel like, but isn't that what faith looks like? Yes, I believe this. I'm jumping into it. Well, if you have the right mindset. So sometimes when it's like, he's either your El Shaddai, which is your all-sufficient force. It is a force, all sufficient source. So he's your source. So it's like, God, you gave me the first glimmer. You gave me that first fruit. You gave me that one breakthrough. God, I'm trusting you and I'm staying with you for the fulfillment of everything. That's God is your source. But there's another mindset that says, okay, God, you've shown me enough. I'll take it from here. You have become your source. So he is either your El Shaddai, your all-sufficient one, or you operate in your self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency can look like I see the fruit and now I'll take over. It's important that we stay in step with God. Deuteronomy 8. I'm going to read this to you. This is so important because I want to show you what we have a habit of doing. And which is why, and this will actually make the waiting period and the planting so much longer because God's after your character a lot more than your comfort. So check this out. Deuteronomy 8, and I'm going to start in verse 11. It says, beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his precepts, and his statutes, which I command you today. Lest when you have eaten and are full and you've built goodly houses and you live in them, and when your herds and flocks multiply and your silver and gold is multiplied and all you have is multiplied, then your minds and hearts be lifted up and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness with its fiery serpents and scorpions and thirsty ground where there was no water, but who brought you forth water out of the flinty rock, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers did not know, that he might humble you and test you to do good in the end. And beware lest you say in your mind and heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth. But you shall earnestly remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant with which he swore to your fathers as it is this day. So sometimes when it's lasting a bit longer, God sees things that you don't. He's like, if I brought you into that promised land right now, you would forget about me so fast, and you would operate in arrogance, and you would operate in self-sufficiency, and you would let pride take over. And you'd be like, no, I won't. I promise. Get me out of here. But you're still desperate for the miracle and not desperate for the man. I really want you to hear me. When he sees in your heart, God, I'm not seeking for you to do this for me. I'm just seeking you. And sometimes that takes it's not like a decision we make like that. It's something he works in us and through us, through suffering, which leads to perseverance, which leads to character, which leads to joy. It's like that process, and we can't hop, skip, and jump through it. He knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows our wiring. He knows our mind. And he's like, I am doing something in you that later you're going to thank me for. Because if I gave it to you now, you would forget. And you would operate in arrogance and pride. And all of a sudden, it would be gone. It would be destructive. And so we have to know he's building us up to manage what he's got for us. And this is where I want to go to right now. What is God up to? When I'm planted, when it's dark, when I feel the pressure, when I'm not seeing answers, when I'm not seeing miracles and breakthrough, but yet still I'm surviving every day, what is he doing? Number one, there's actually 4 things that he's doing. And number one is he's growing your roots before the shoots. It has to happen. You can plant a bean and you can look at that bean. The root always comes out before the shoot. The root anchors and the shoots provide the harvest. We can't have the shoots before the roots because it's not anchored in. We got to get anchored in before we get the harvest. And I will tell you this, guys, the higher the calling, the deeper the roots. And that is, it can be encouraging, but it can feel nauseating. I'm just being real. When God calls you to a higher purpose, it will be prolonged growth in places where you can't see. Why did Joseph have to be in prison for so long? Because he was called to be the leader of a world power. So big miracles don't take a small gestational period. You are after building an oak. You're not after creating a chia pet. Okay? You are so much greater than a chia pet. Like, this is not, let me plant seed, put some water on it, and all of a sudden this guy has an afro made out of chia. Like, no, you're here for such a bigger purpose than that. Okay? You are here to provide legacy, growth, like something real and substantial, and that doesn't happen overnight. We want it to happen overnight, and we always think we can handle it. God, I can handle the blessing. Give it to me. It would destroy you. The blessing is so big that we have to grow and anchor in the roots to support it. It's vital that we do that. I mean, it's not vital, but if you want to fulfill the anointing that He's placed on you, if you want to fulfill the purpose, if you want to make this one go at life really worth it, then it's imperative you understand what He's doing in this planting season. And the silent period, that's actually an indicator. So the longer the silence, the more the growth. I want you to understand He's at work building for something that is so big. So take it as an indicator that, man, this harvest is going to be so huge. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be exceedingly abundantly beyond anything I can ask or think or hope or imagine. We always want the Ephesians 3:20 blessing. We always want that. And we talk about it. It's going to be exceedingly abundantly beyond anything we can ask or think or hope or imagine. Okay, if you want that Ephesians 3:20, then we have got to go back to Galatians 6:9. So don't lose heart and grow weary, and don't get faint. Like, this is what has to play out. So if you sign up for the Ephesians 3:20, you also sign up for Galatians 6:9. Because we got to grow those roots to create the blessing that just would leave you in awe if I told you about it right now. So what is He doing? He's growing roots before the shoots. And number 2, He's building capacity. So who you are now cannot hold what's coming your way. If it could, you'd already have it. So by you being in this planting season of knowing it's coming, what He's doing is He's increasing your capacity to hold it. I know some of you guys, I've been through stuff and you're like, I don't know how I made it through. Can you wave at me if there's been some stuff in your life like, I don't know how. I see some 2 hands. I don't know how I made it through. How am I still breathing today? How am I still standing today? I want to show you something. This is so true, guys. When you understand that you can feel anything, I can feel anything. You don't hold so much fear around life. Whatever the situation, you have the capacity to feel anything. Think about it. When Jesus cast demons out, it said legions of demons came out of this person. All right, if one person, one man can hold legions of demons, that shows how unlimited your spiritual capacity is. You are your body, like you have a body, okay? You are a spirit. You have a mind and you live in a body. But that's holding your spirit. Your body is a container for your spirit, and your body is limited, but your spirit is unlimited. Therefore, when you carry the living God inside you, you can feel anything. You can feel the depths of the pain, and you can feel the heights of the joy. You can feel everything in between there. And there are things you go through in life that you're like, there's no way I could have survived that without God. What God is doing in that period is he's expanding your capacity to understand how unlimited you really are. And when you know you're unlimited, you become fearless. And when you become fearless, you become faithful. And when you become faithful, that's when you walk into your promised land. See, God got the Egyptians out. God got the Israelites out of Egypt in a day, but it took them years and years to finally get the Egypt out of them, because they had this thinking, they had this limited thinking. And so, yes, he could bring it to us in one day, but he didn't, because if he had, it said they would have been destroyed. He had to take them through a wilderness so they would know him better. And when we're in that wilderness, it's not that we're lost. It's not that God has forgotten us. It's not that we have to hang on to survive. It's that God is doing a greater work in us so that we can hold the promise. We can expand our capacity to understand more of him and know how truly unlimited we actually are. And now the third thing. The third thing he's doing is he's protecting what he's growing. He's protecting what he's growing. We don't, the reason we protect our children is they're not ready for that exposure yet. There's a reason we don't give them cell phones, hopefully, when they're little kids, because there's so much crap out there. We protect them. There's a reason we set guardrails. There's a reason we oversee and we watch over them, and we're very careful about where they go and who they hang out with and what they're exposed to. We're protecting them as they're growing. And what God is doing in that season when we feel hidden and overlooked is he's hiding us for a reason. In our growth period, the reason it's dark is he's keeping us hidden from the enemy. He's protecting us as we learn more of him. See, exposure too early can destroy somebody. Just like it can destroy a child. It can destroy you in your faith walk when we're exposed too early. The enemy can come in and take us out. So as we stay in the dark, and know this, there have been seasons in my life when it's like, God, this is so hard. This is so hard to wake up every day and not have that stability in my circumstances, not know if money's going to come through, not know if these opportunities are going to be here, not know if this person's still going to be alive or not. Like, there are those seasons when it's so hard. And we want to be out of those seasons. I'm just speaking truth here. There's nothing noble about it. I'm sorry. It sucks crap. I'm just going to be, I could say something else. This is the Irreverent Women Bible Study Club. I could, because you know what it sucks. Okay? And in that time, you're like, I just want to be out of this. And what God is saying to you, and I'm saying this to somebody today, as the voice that you need to hear, I've got you. In the middle of this, in the middle of not knowing, in the middle of the confusion, in the middle of the fear in the unknown, I've got you. And those days, as much as we want to avoid them, they become the inevitable building blocks of the miracle you're going to walk into. You can't, if you want the miracle, you can't avoid those days. Because what you learn in those days is somehow, I'm still good. I'm still breathing. I mean, there were moments in my life. I remember after I was pregnant with twin boys, and I lost them about halfway through the pregnancy, and it was such a hard time. And I had to go in, for the, to have them taken out and everything for the D&C. And I remember coming back from the hospital in a fetal position on the bathroom floor, bawling my eyes out. And I'm not going to say I wanted to die, but there are times in your life when just living feels too hard. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't know what I'm saying, but it's like, I just kind of don't want to be alive right now. This is too hard. And I remember in that moment, it's like, this pain is too hard. Like I had the double stroller and I had the, I was already, and they had names, and it was like, this is too hard. And on that bathroom floor, in that fetal position, crying my guts out, God had me. I don't know how. And there have been times, and I'm talking to some women today, you can look back at a time when you're like, God had me. I was like gut punched. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to check out. But something about the presence of God invaded that space. And he said, I got you. I remember being at my mama's bedside when she passed on to be with Jesus. And you would think, how excruciating. But what I can tell you is also how beautiful. Because the parts that we think are going to kill us are those same parts in our lives. When the presence of God invades that space, and that's the peace that passes understanding. So I'm telling you right now, God is protecting you. And in the whole season, he's got you. In the darkest parts where it's like, I'm doing a greater work in you. I know this didn't turn out the way you wanted. I know this isn't the answer to the prayer that you prayed. I know you don't want to be in this spot, but in this spot, I'm still God. I'm still good. And I got you. And you will know later. And that peace is so beautiful that you're willing to feel the brokenness that allows the peace to invade. Don't lose hope right now. Because God's on the other side of it. There is a reason. And it can feel excruciating, but what you're going to walk into is breathtaking. It's beautiful. And I want to share one more thing with you. He is at work building the systems that you can't see. It's not something that he's going to reveal to you. And it's not something that he has to reveal. He's not obligated to tell you anything. You've got his word. He's told you everything in his word. So he's not obligated to say, here's what I'm doing. Because he already told us all things work together for good. He's already told us that he who began a good thing in you will complete it. He already told us he's the author and finisher. So guess what? In that meantime, he doesn't have to tell you what he's doing. Because what you're doing is your brain is desperately seeking safety while your mind is learning how to soar. And that transition between our brain operating in fear and our mind operating in faith is where we are. And there are systems he's building in that place that you do not have to know right now, and that he will not tell you. And that's where trust comes into play. That's where we learn not just more of the character of God, but also more of how powerful and strong and resilient we actually are. So let's stay planted. Who's with me? Who's going to stay planted? Yes, God's doing a great and mighty work in you. I love you so much. I'm so grateful you're here, and I will see you in the next Irreverent Women Bible Study Club. I love you guys.